Our community training program, or like we like to call it CTP for short, is a series of interactive workshops that focuses on anti-discrimination, diversity, equity, and inclusion, but with a strong emphasis on building welcoming spaces for newcomers to Canada. The workshop and the program has been offered in Peterborough, but also across Ontario for 2 years now. Our first year as a pilot project, where we offer these workshops for free and seeing how they are landing in our community, and our second year as a full-on program offered to the community. The program was developed in response of a growing need. Peterborough is a community that has been growing a lot and it's diversifying. So a lot of our organizations and employers were working with newcomers and starting to work with newcomers without actually having a lot of the knowledge or the tools to work with them effectively. So the community training program was born out of that, out of the necessity for a lot of our partners here in Peterborough needing a training that was practical, a training that was really helpful and that goes above and beyond just theory, something that can actually put it in practice. Currently, we're offering 4 different workshops, one being Immigration 101. This teaches and shows folks the basics of immigration. How are people coming to our country? What are the different pathways that people are taking to come in here? Whether our client has a work permit or a study permit, or they are permanent residents. Our second workshop, and one of my favorite, is storytelling and building empathy and understanding. We focus on lived experience. We bring a newcomer who shares their stories, share a beautiful photo album of their experiences in Canada. And then we start doing a lot of activities about how do we build empathy? How are we good active listeners? Our third workshop is cultural humility. And for this one, we really wanted to move away the concept of cultural competence and moving away from, this is a checklist of things that we need to do, and now I'm cultural competent. We wanted to provide folks the mindset of continuous learning, of making mistakes and learning from that, and being cultural humble. Our fourth and last workshop focuses on language learners. So this is called In the Shoes of a Language Learner, really putting folks to do a lot of activities and do a lot of programming in another language. So actually half of the workshop is done in a different language, and folks really get to experience how is it to be a non-native speaker. So it's an amazing workshop. The goals of the training program is really that our clients and community partners increase their knowledge and understanding about immigrant experiences. We hear a lot about immigration, we see it in the news, we see our neighbors, but we wanted to make sure that people are actually understanding, why are people here? Why are they coming from? What are the different pathways that they're taking here? What are their experiences here? So we wanted to make it very human in that sense. So our goal is to showcase that and to build capacity in our community to be a welcoming one, and so that newcomers can feel like home here and can feel like they are members of this society. Over the intermediate and long-term goals, we're really hoping that organizations start to implement changes, structural changes. Once you personally start growing and learning more, we're hoping that these changes also reflect at a big institutional level. Maybe a change in their policy, maybe a change on how you use translation services, maybe a change on how you write your documents to be more accessible. So we're hoping that also reflects in the bigger picture. The program is used by a wide range of partners, from community organizations, nonprofits, volunteer groups, and also the public sector as well. And we always try to change our workshops to meet them where they are. So one of the benefits of this workshop series is that it can be adaptable. We can see the context or the needs of the organization and making some tweaks to these workshops so that they can land better to our clients. We might have an organization that's working with clients in a lot of mental health issues, or other clients that maybe might just be wanted to train their staff on how to be better colleagues. So we try to change our workshops accordingly to meet these organizations where they are. These workshops do go beyond abstract and theory. We show the theories, people learn the concepts, but then we provide a lot of activities and tools and handouts so that they can start practicing. We are not hoping folks to end these workshops and be like, okay, you're training on cultural humility, you're now cultural humble. It's more like giving them the tools so that when they go out around in the world, they can start learning. So we show the theories, we show the concepts, and then we start working with activities and activating those ways of learning and those ways of changing their mindsets so that they can continue learning. This is a lifelong journey. It's not just one workshop. We're hoping to activate those minds so that they can eventually implement changes at their workplaces or within their own personal lives. Our community training program is innovated in the way that it combines public education, equity-based framework, and lived experience in a workshop. So you get a lot of really important key features that makes it more comprehensive, I would say. There are a lot of other DEI workshops in our community and a lot of folks can access it, but I think what really sets our training apart is that it has a newcomer immigrant lens. We're putting lived experiences as the center. We love to share stories of newcomers. We bring newcomers to share their stories. We show a lot of videos, and this really pushed a lot of the participants to start reflecting on their own biases, reflecting on their own assumptions, reflecting on the work that they can do or how they can change. So in the short term, participants leave these workshops really thinking about what things they can do to change. And in the long term, they have a set of tools that they can use to keep learning from other experiences. The program's modular structure, I think, makes it very efficient and very accessible. We wanted the program to be accessible. These are workshops that can be built on top of each other, but are also a standalone workshops. And that has made the program very efficient in the way that more people are interested in booking, knowing that they don't have to book a whole series or a whole set of workshops. They can pick and choose what works for them, and we can adapt accordingly.
With our community training program, we've conducted evaluation from the inception of the program, and we do it through two main mechanisms. One is looking at the quantitative data related to our targets. So we look at the number of folks reaching out to us, the number of trainings we're able to facilitate, and the number of people that we're able to do that. But that only reveals one part of the story. There's another part that relates to the impact and the outcome of it. So we look into more qualitative data through surveys and through informal interviews with folks. And so after every training that we deliver, there is a specific evaluation survey that goes out related to that specific training, that goes out via email to all participants that took the training, that asks them to share a little bit about what resonated with them, maybe what did not resonate, any feedback they have, or any testimonials that they want to share. And then we also have debriefs with those that did book us, and more informal conversations that they will have with us or with our colleagues that reveals a little bit more in terms of how the training has impacted their organization, or how they may want to be looking at making shifts or future things that they want to explore. And in the first year of piloting, our goal was to deliver 5 trainings. At the end of the year, we had managed to deliver 10 of those trainings to a total audience of 450 people. Our current year, we have completed 11 trainings so far and have a few more booked that will take us up to about 15 trainings for this past year, with a total number of individuals around the same as last year. So some of the feedback that we get from each workshop includes in the Immigration 101 workshop, people often tell us that they really value being able to learn about the pathways and really debunking the myth that there's that one journey for a newcomer, that there are multiple different entryways into Canada and multiple different experiences that come with the status that you may hold in Canada. With the Cultural Humility workshop, people often tell us that while they know about bias and they know about stereotypes, it was beneficial for them to put a newcomer lens on those things and to consider how it may show up in the work that they do and within the agencies that they're a part of, and how they can adjust their services in relation to those stereotypes and biases. In the shoes of a language learner, by far, the feedback is always that it was mind-blowing, the experiences language learners have to go through, because we facilitate a portion of that workshop in a different language. And so it really stimulates for them that experience of trying to get something done when you don't understand the language. And with the empathy building and storytelling workshop, we're able to bring a live speaker in to share their immigration story with the group. And the feedback is always that it was really beneficial to put a human face to that experience and be able to have someone live to interact with them, and then receive some training in active listening and empathy building after.
I've been part of those amazing, training sessions that Bisham and Mauricio facilitated, and I'm very happy, and I was very satisfied seeing that the information that was shared, the crucial elements that I think is something that is, can be taken by any sector within Peterborough, and not just in Peterborough. I think anybody who is interested, I think they should at least take a chance to learn something, because I'm sure they will learn something which will be mind-boggling for them to know. I think the more we get to know what the ground reality is, I think it will bring more empathy, more compassion onto the ground, and hopefully people can live and, respect each other on a continuous basis.
So the community training program is available to a wide audience of people. And so we are training folks that work with newcomers, as well as folks that aren't currently seeing newcomers, but would like to attract and retain them in their organizations. And so it really spans the wide range of folks, from folks that are actively engaged and folks wanting to build engagement with them. But a lot of the themes and topics that we cover can be applied to other groups of people as well. And so one of the things that we always say in our trainings is that we want you to keep a lens on newcomers, but to also consider the clients that are not newcomers that you serve, whether that be Indigenous folks, that be folks that are from other racial backgrounds, seniors, etc., because a lot of the fundamental themes that we talk about can be applied to other lenses as well. And so the topics and themes that are covered in the workshop can be replicated by other agencies that don't work with newcomers, to just tailor it to the client population that they do work with. So the community training program can be replicated in other communities, whether that be small or large, but there may be some challenges within each of them. Within larger communities, there may be a strong demand for this program. There may be that audience for it. And so some of the challenges that may come up with is meeting that need and ensuring that you have the capacity within your organization to meet that need. And so it may not be a role that can be at the side of the table. It may not be a program that someone else facilitates in addition to multiple other things, but it may have a space for one person or two people that are dedicated to this program and implementing it within a larger urban metropolitan space. Within smaller communities, there may be a need for it, but there may not be that wide audience for it. And so it is about scaling the project to meet the needs of that particular community and hearing from them what it is that they would like to learn about. Within those smaller communities, it may be a project that you're able to facilitate through an existing staff member or with existing capacity versus having a unique individual that runs that program specifically. One of the key things that we have tried to do with our program is to pace ourselves. So that is one of the key pieces of advice that we would give to partners, is not to rush into it. Invest the time in developing it. We spent 1 year of piloting it, really for the purposes of wanting to make sure that the opportunities were relevant to our community and resonated with our community. Another key piece of advice that we would give is to use what you already have to your advantage. You may have other resources within your agency that you can utilize as part of this program, that you don't have to recreate the wheel. An example of that is we embed videos and we embed live newcomer stories within the community training program that are based on other programs that already exist within our agency. We're limiting the resources we need to spend on developing that content, but we're also promoting other programs within our agency and providing those spaces for those to be elevated. And the last piece of advice is to place a strong focus on feedback and to ensure that you're actively finding out from those that receive your training what resonates for them, what they liked, and how you can improve, and to ensure that you're spending time considering that feedback and making the adjustments from that feedback as well.